Hi, my name is Sohail and I'm founder of Creed. Creed is an application that is designed for Muslims to calculate their zakat and sadaqah and pay it using the application to people who are in need. Now, what is zakat and sadaqah in easy terms? Is essentially it's like a wealth tax. Muslims who are of means are required to calculate a certain portion of their wealth, about 2.5% after assets and liabilities are calculated, and pay this money in charity. Now, 70% of the Muslims in Muslim majority countries live on less than $2 a day, and there are 1.6 billion Muslims in the world. On the other side, about $600 billion to $1 trillion is paid in charity every year. So, this is not a problem of money, this is not a problem of people who need money. This is a problem where people do not know, first of all, how to calculate the zakat, their taxes, wealth taxes, and where to give. If we are able to bridge this gap, this will mean that a lot of money is made available to the people who need it the most. What is the definition of need when it comes to Creed? See, last year during the pandemic, one realization which came, it was that people who are in need and people who are poor, they're different, but crisis impacts people in a very similar fashion. So, what we are trying to do is we're trying to get people in need and people who can give on a common platform where Muslims can calculate their zakat, decide to give sadaqah on the application. And the ecosystem that is getting built is not just of people alone. This has institutions, at least in US 501c institutions. It gets on board unconventional charities as well. So if you are a doctor who is in habit of, giving consulting ex gratia to patients, or if there are people who come to you and say, hey, listen, I don't have money for pathology lab tests, I don't have money for medicines, you get these people on a common platform and make this money available to them. This is what we are building in Creed. Currently, the application is slated to go live in North America end of June, when the transactions will be possible. We also have an enterprise edition where in the Middle East, charity is highly regulated. You do not have many independent private B2C options available. So what we are doing is we have created an enterprise version of the application, which will be made available to quasi-government bodies, established businesses who would want to white label this solution and uh, make it available to the market. Lastly, by the end of the year, we intend to take this to India, to South Asia, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Far East, which is Malaysia and Indonesia, for a larger go-to-market. And for this, we need some money, we need mentorship. While I have worked for last 11 years in a company that pioneers business process outsourcing for governments, and that is the experience I bring on board: identity management, KYC, compliance in financial instruments, how the reporting has to happen, how do you make sure that the person who is empaneling on with you or the institution is empaneling with you, a lot of due diligence is done, and that due diligence is made available for regulators if at all they're asked for. So the holistic solution in itself is not just a platform where you are getting people with the ability to pay connect with the people who need, but do it in a manner which complies with all the regulations across the globe. For that, we need some amount of mentoring. This is, after all, a startup of a middle-aged guy, and I still do not have the knowledge or the support to drive this, develop this as a very successful startup that is able to grow fairly quick. Is growth there? Of course, growth is there. There are 1.6 billion Muslims in the world, and a lot of them are really needy. And a lot of this charity which happens in the community is very unstructured. One of the best things we've gotten in terms of feedback is that nobody just says that this is a bad idea, and that adds a lot of pressure. So of course we need some money to make sure that we are able to build proof of concepts for the enterprise version. We need some money to get the right guys to come on board and work on product development, work on go to market in these countries, and we need a lot of mentorship. That is something largely where I think Y Combinator will be able to bring a lot of value to us. I hope this gives a good insight on what we're trying to do, inshallah. The user input driven application is already online. It's available on iOS and Android platforms, and the transactional application will go live sometime, inshallah, in June. You also have to excuse me, this is something very difficult for me to create a video. A lot of consciousness is the biggest hindrance in doing that. I look forward to possibly working with Y Combinator in creating a lot of value out of Creed, inshallah. Thank you so much.